What are the Bears thinking trading Khalil Mack to the AFC West, where everybody seems to be headed these days? It's a stacked division, and NFL free agency still hasn't even begun. It's getting crazy in the NFL. I'm Chris Carter of the Locked On Steelers podcast, and here on the Friday edition of the Locked On NFL podcast, we're going to get you caught up with all the things that happen, get you takes on what these moves mean for what the NFL is about to look like. I'm Chris Carter. Your boy Q from Locked On Raiders is going to join me on the Friday edition. We're going to break it all down and also talk about who are the top guys that are going to be the most impactful in free agency. It's going to be an exciting episode of the Locked On NFL podcast. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On NFL, your daily NFL podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome to the Locked On NFL podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carter, here, my friend and co-host, your boy Q. I'm of Locked On Steelers. He's of Locked On Raiders, and it's the Friday edition of the Locked On NFL podcast. Remember, you can find this show on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Odyssey, and YouTube. If you're enjoying this video on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button to get all of our content that comes on Locked On NFL. It's not just this show on Friday. It's the show all throughout the week, as well as we give you insider info from former NFL players on this channel. It's a great thing to follow and enjoy. Remember to rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. And also, we thank you for making the Locked On NFL podcast your first listen every day. Q, how you been, my man?
Man, what up, though? I'm good, man. I'm excited. It's another Friday, man. We're closing out a week. And as you mentioned, man, free agency doesn't even start till next week. But I feel like we've already gone through the gauntlet of free agency, even though we haven't. I mean, it's crazy. We talk about March Madness. I usually talk about college basketball when I'm talking about March Madness. But, man, it's been all about football in March so far. It's crazy, but it's a great time to be a NFL guy. So I'd love to be here on the show with you on this Friday, man.
Same here. It's an exciting time. Like you said, so much is happening, and teams aren't even signing free agents yet. Bobby Wagner is a free agent on the market. Russell Wilson is a Bronco. Aaron Rodgers stayed. We'll get to all those different moves. But the latest move that shocked the NFL world was Khalil Mack going to the Chargers in the AFC West. Like, we're just continuing to load up the same division. Everyone's just piling up over there. And they gave up what, a second and a sixth round pick?
A second round pick in 2022, a sixth round pick in 2023. But they do take on the rest of his contract, which is like $63 million over the course of 3 years. But who cares? I mean, it's not my money. It's not your money.
Mack.
If you're getting Khalil Mack and he's going to book in Joey Bosa, that's a good thing. And Brandon Staley's your head coach, and he worked with them in Chicago, so he knows how to use them properly. I mean, man, who cares about the money? Like I said, it's not mine or yours, so go make it happen.
Exactly. And it's not mine or yours. I love that philosophy. Like, it's not our money. Go spend that right now.
Fans always are like, oh my God, that's too much money. Are you spending it? Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, does it make any difference if the Steelers have like $1 left in cap space? It doesn't make any difference to you. You're not paying the money. All that you care about and fans care about is if the team is capable of winning games or not. So Charger fans are looking at this like, okay, it's a lot of money for Khalil Mack. He's a really good player. You got Joey Bosa. You've got a really good quarterback. You've got a chance. Why not? And the quarterback's on a rookie deal. So why not go all in on Khalil Mack right now? And you can get it done. I mean, hell, you mentioned Russell Wilson. When did Russell Wilson win a Super Bowl? On his rookie deal. Now is a great time to cash in. If you got a quarterback on the rookie deal, you should go all in if you believe in him.
I feel you on that, and that's a big part of the strategy today is when you get a star quarterback in his first 4 years, load up your roster as much as you can. That's definitely part of it. Khalil Mack going to the Chargers, according to overthecap.com right now, he is a $17.7 million cap hit. What's interesting to me about this, though, Q, is that before this, the Chargers were major players in free agency. They still are. According to Overcap, they have $24.5 million of cap space. They can still, but they were a team that looked like they could add 2 to 3 major free agents in the market, and that could change things. But even without that, like you said, they have Joey Bosa, they have Khalil Mack. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, who they made sure was staying there, Corey
Yep.
Linsley, Derwin James, Justin Herbert, of course, is going to be leading the way, but Austin Eckler's still there. They went and drafted Rashawn Slater. I like how he's looking in the
Yep.
NFL. They have, they went and I like their young potential in the secondary with Nasir Adderley and Asante Samuel Jr. There's a lot of potential there, but
Yeah.
this is the AFC West where the Chiefs have been the top dog since Patrick Mahomes came to town. They've let go Tyrann Mathieu. Wherever he lands is going to be a big deal. And then you still got to deal with now Russell Wilson, who's joining an offense with Javonte Williams, who looked like he was going to be a problem. Cortland Sutton, who looks like he's still a problem. Tim Patrick, who really came up this year. Oh, and by the way, Jerry Jeudy, who now is supposed to be the young star that's going to take off there. You have all those weapons there, and that still bleeds out the Raiders, who made the playoffs this year. Is the AFC West about to just be an all-star weekend every time they play each other in this upcoming season?
I'll tell you what, it's going to be a dogfight every time the AFC West plays each other. I really, and as I cover the Raiders as from the Locked On Raiders podcast, and of course, LVSportsNetwork.com as well here in Las Vegas, I'll tell you this, man. I don't think any team is going to be a team that's going to sweep a team this year. You know what I mean? Like the Raiders swept the Broncos this past year. I don't see that happening this year. I don't see the Chiefs sweeping anybody because I think every damn team is really good. So I think that, this may be a division where a 10-win team wins the division, not sneaks into the playoffs by way of wild card, but a 10-win team might actually win the division because everyone's going to beat up on each other. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I think that that's fun. I think it's great. It's exciting. And if you get through that gauntlet of a division, you probably got a good chance in the playoffs because you're battle tested. And hell, you cover the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know how it's been. Having the Baltimore Ravens in the division. Obviously the Browns when they were somewhat good for a quick second, and then even the Bengals this year. I mean, you saw how it is. It could be when you have a really tough division. Iron sharpens iron, man. It can make you better.
Mike Tomlin says that saying a lot. Iron sharpens iron.
And he still dogged me on the interview. Nope, don't do that, bro. That's all right, man. I ain't mad at Mike Tomlin. I'm gonna get
I was gonna say you've totally let that go by now.
No, I haven't. I'll never let that go. I will get that interview before it's all said and done. Before I'm in my grave, before the dirt is on top of me, I will get that interview with Mike Tomlin. And I will tell him about the time he blew me off at Baylor University. Nope, don't do that, bro. He didn't even look my direction. Like, he didn't even break stride. He just kept it pushing. Hey, coach, can I get a couple minutes? Nope, don't do that, bro. I mean, he didn't even know. It could have been me or you, and he wouldn't have known that. You know what I'm saying? Because he didn't have any idea. He never even looked my direction.
No, you see, he would have stopped because I'm light skinned, and he would have given me the time of day.
He looks like Omar freaking Epps. He should be on my side.
He should be on your side.
Hell, my name is Q. My name is Q. He was Q and Juice. Omar Epps was Q and Juice. Yo, Q.
Stupid. But he answers my questions all the time. I've asked him. He's never said no to. Hey, Mike, can I answer? He's like, yeah, sure. He always answers my questions.
Did you ask him for a one-on-one or anything like that?
Oh no, I don't.
Well, there you go. I was trying to put him on the radio one-on-one at the time.
Nah, yeah, that's not Mike's cup of tea. But anyways, back to this AFC West nonsense because Mike's in the AFC North, and you're right. The Steelers have dealt with competition on competition on competition. That's what looks like the AFC West's about to be. And I have to think it's a smart move by the Chargers. What's one of the best ways to neutralize quarterbacks? A pass rush.
Right.
And if you bookend your defense with Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack on either side coming after people, that's two major problems that teams are going to have to deal with every single game. I like the addition. I like the excitement that the AFC West is bringing. But here's my question to you before we head to the break, Q. Who is the top dog of the AFC West next year? And obviously the Kansas City Chiefs are the early favorite because they've been that guy. But does someone overtake them?
Well, I'll tell you, man, I always believe in to be the man, you got to beat the man, right? And I'm not a big wrestling fan, but I know that that's a big old wrestling saying. But I think Kansas City's still the cream of the crop until proven otherwise. Now, Russell Wilson's going to have a lot to say about that. The Chargers are going to have a lot to say about that. And I'll tell you right now, I think the Raiders, even though they're sitting back in the wind and they're not really doing anything right now, I think that they're gonna show something next week. Obviously, we'll talk about free agency coming up in later on in the show, but I think that they're gonna have something to say about it as well. So there's a lot to like about this division. The one thing I'm mad about this whole Khalil Mack thing is that it's Khalil Mack, and now he's gonna play against the Raiders twice a year. I mean, that dude is a Raider. I mean, he's a Raider. He should have never been a Bear to begin with, in my opinion. But that's
Is he a Raider?
yes,
Is
he
he a
is.
Raider?
Actually,
He
if you
sounded
go
like he
back,
really wanted to get out of there really
no,
fast.
he really didn't. That was a Gruden thing. If you go back and look at his stats, he had the best numbers of his career with the silver and black. Just throw it out there.
So I mean, it sounds like he's part of a region. Because
No,
like
no, it's
if it
not.
was a
No.
nation, if it was Raider Nation, they would have kept him because he can't leave the nation. He just went to the Midwest.
He went to the Midwest because he was traded by a coach that thought he was smarter than everybody else in the country. So
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
you know,
Good job, that coach, by the way. And now you guys are gonna have to face him twice a year. That's gonna be a nightmare. But I'm with you. I still think the Chiefs are the top dog until someone knocks them out. But here's the thing: no Tyrann Mathieu, I think, can be a real big hit. Juan Thornhill, I think, is a good safety, and he says
yeah,
he's ready to be the number one guy. I think that they thrived off of having a good safety pair back there, and even
right,
Sorensen as a third guy. They need another guy next to him,
for sure, for sure.
so I'm really intrigued to see what
The
they
arms race
do.
has gotten a lot closer in the AFC West. I
Yes.
mean, it has, and it's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out. Did Russell Wilson's off year last year have to do more with his injury and what he didn't have in Seattle, or is he starting to decline in his play style? Him scrambling and running around at his age now. Maybe it's not. Maybe it doesn't, translate as well. Who knows? So, like I said, I'm excited to see how it all shakes out. But the one thing I do know is that the AFC West is an absolute dog, and I'm waiting to see what the Raiders do to make a counter move, and I'm expecting it's going to happen next week.
And we're going to talk about which of these moves that have happened so far and have been announced over the past couple weeks has been the biggest move or most impactful move in the state of the NFL. But first, we're going to talk to you guys about betonline.net. It's that time of the year again where college basketball is live because March Madness is about to be here. After this weekend's over, you know that the conference championships will be all done, which means we'll have bracketology. We'll have all the March Madness brackets. You'll be able to fill them out. And there's one great place to put your money down and get all the latest odds, contests, and player props for March Madness. That's betonline.net, the number one source for all your sports betting needs and info. BetOnline remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline.net is your continued source for all your sports wagering, whether it's hockey, UFC, baseball. It's back, so you're going to be able to bet on baseball again. That'll be great.
Let's
And
go.
also, don't forget your favorite Vegas casino games. Head to the website today to use your mobile device or learn more about the trends in action when you visit BetOnline, where the game starts. Back here in the Locked On NFL podcast, I'm Chris Carter. He's your boy Q. It's the Friday edition, and we're taking a look back. We're taking a step back, and we're looking at all the different moves, and we're going to give you each of what we think is the most impactful move that has happened so far in this offseason. Now, Q, there's been several moves that have been made. The Packers have kept Aaron Rodgers on a huge deal. They've also kept Devontae Adams off of the
Franchise tag.
franchise tag. That was a big move. The Titans signed Harold Landry to a long-term deal. I thought they were going to have to franchise tag him. I thought that was interesting.
Right.
Of course, the Seahawks get 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a 5th in exchange for Russell Wilson and a 4th. And then, of course, Noah Fant and Shelby and
Shelby
Drew
Harris,
Lock.
Drew Lock,
Shelby Harris and Drew Lock are part of that equation. And then you have Khalil Mack to the Chargers. And I'm probably missing some in there
Carson
because
Wentz with Washington.
Carson. Okay, are you really going to rank that as your best though?
No, but I'm saying it's a move that happened. Honestly, it might be a great move for the Colts, depending on what they do with those picks and who's their quarterback next season.
That's a very good question. I hope it's Jimmy Garoppolo, just so I can have people stop texting me. Will Jimmy Garoppolo be this Pittsburgh Steelers' next quarterback? Because I'm so tired of that question. Because if he is, he better not be costing anywhere near what he cost the 49ers. But Q, of all of those moves that have happened so far, and again, we're talking, this is like Thursday night going into Friday that we're talking right now.
Right.
there
Still
could be like
time for trades.
there,
Still
there,
time for another trade.
there could be 5 different things that happen on Friday that just completely reshape everything. And Bo Brack's show on Monday on this very podcast, on the Locked On NFL podcast, is going to be like, well, yeah, so all those things that Chris and Q said, all of them are bunk now because
Right.
nothing matters because all
Right.
these trades happen. It's just how football is right now. But Q, if you had to pick one of these moves that's the most impactful, what's the biggest one that has the biggest impact?
You know what? I think it's the first one. I really do. I think it's Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, and I put those together as a package deal. I think it's them staying in Green Bay. I
Mm.
think that they have the best chance to win. I think Aaron Rodgers trying to hoist the Lombardi Trophy, the best place for him to do it would have been in Green Bay. Of course, I was shocked by the Russell Wilson news because I thought that once Aaron Rodgers said he was staying in Green Bay, Denver was going to be wondering what the hell they were going to do at the quarterback position. But they had a backup plan. Credit to George Payton, the GM of the Broncos. He had a backup plan like, hey, if we don't land Rodgers, we'll land Russell Wilson. And you know what? That might be a better plan than plan A. Plan B
Because
might have been better.
Russell Wilson will last you a while. Aaron
Right.
Rodgers got
Exactly.
maybe a couple more years in him.
Right, exactly. But I do. I think that Rodgers staying in Green Bay and getting a massive deal, whatever the numbers exactly are, because of course it's being disputed that it's the 4 years, $200 million, $153 million guaranteed. It's being disputed. It doesn't really matter. What it does matter is that they have enough cap space to go ahead and give Devontae Adams a franchise tag, and they're going to find a way to get him under the deal. They're going to give him a long-term deal, and those two guys are going to be running buddies. They're going to be like Mike and Scotty. It's not the last dance. They're going to go ahead and run for a couple more years, and that's why it's so impactful, because it didn't just impact one player, and it didn't just, it's not just one guy impacting the team. It's also keeping your stud quarterback and your stud wide receiver together. A great 1-2 punch right there. And I do think that if Aaron Rodgers had decided to leave, I think Devontae Adams would have bounced. I think that some team, they probably would have franchised him anyway, but I think a team would have really made a healthy effort to go ahead and try to trade for him and get him. But I think they realize now that Green Bay is not going to let him go because, well, he's going to stay with his running buddy. So that's why I think that Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams staying in Green Bay is the most impactful or move that's happened so far this week.
I think that's a good pick because the Packers have been a threat for so long. It keeps them the top dogs of the NFC North, which they run. But if Aaron Rodgers leaves, most likely Devontae Adams also leaves, and then it opens up the NFC North, and it also opens up a lot of the NFC playoffs. Even though Aaron Rodgers has not been back to the Super Bowl since he beat the Steelers in Super Bowl 45 way back in the winter of 2011. So you look at that. And you still think I don't have to play Aaron Rodgers? Oh, that's a relief. I do feel you on that. I'm gonna go with Khalil Mack to the Chargers though,
Really?
because here's my thinking on this, Q. And I know Russell Wilson makes an impact, of course,
Right.
with the Broncos, but the Chargers need a defense. They need a defense with an identity. Derwin James has been hurt. They need him to be healthy. But if they can have a dual edge rush combo like Bosa and Mack, who could both be serious threats, and that becomes part of the AFC West battle, all those quarterbacks are now going to have to face both of those guys. And that's going to it's going to shorten their time in the pocket. That's going to shorten their chances to make big plays. I just see this as one big way that the Chargers can say, hey, we see the arms race. We're in the arms race. We have Justin Herbert.
Right.
But now we got the best pass rushing set to go after all of y'all quarterbacks. And I think that's worth something. And I think that in a division that might end up being the most important division in football, that's a really important weapon to have on your side.
Yeah, no, I can see that, no doubt about it. I mean, hey, we always say defense wins championships, right? And I mean that is a hell of a combo right there. I mean, Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, if both are healthy and out there, they're going to be a dog, and they're going to make offensive lines have to be better in the AFC West. They're going to make quarterbacks get the ball out of their hands quicker. I mean, they're going to wreck games. That's just what they do, and we know how it is in the NFL, man. I mean, you can do everything you can to try to neutralize one guy, but if you got two dogs on that defensive line, that's going to be tough. So yeah, I could totally see that. That makes a lot of sense. Why you think that that's the most impactful play? I don't hold that very far away from the most impactful play that I had, but I will say how we started this whole thing off talking about the Colts. I think that it'll be interesting to see what they do with the extra cap space that they have. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the draft picks that they have to get Washington, the football team, or the Commanders, whatever you want to call them, to be able to get them to pay all of Carson Wentz's deal. that's a big deal too. That's a big impact as well as far as what they're going to do next week. So I don't think it's the most impactful play that they made, but I'll say it's like if I think Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams is 1A, or 1, and Khalil Mack to the Chargers is 1A, I'll say that the Colts move that they made this week is probably a close 2. I'll put it up there. I think it's impactful.
I saw Darius Leonard tweet out that this is going to be their fifth or sixth quarter
Yeah, since he's been in the
year.
league. Yep.
That's a lot to handle,
Yep.
and it's such a shame because you look at the Colts 7 years ago before all this started. They had Andrew Luck. They were good for the next decade. Like everyone thought, like the Colts, they're eventually going to win a Super Bowl.
He made Peyton Manning expendable.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
And now he's out of the league, and they're scrambling for a quarterback every single year, and they can't seem to find one. It's really interesting to me to see how that dynamic has played out.
Yeah.
And quarterbacks are always really important. I just think that with the Chargers, if that pass rush gets active and it causes problems, I mean, we saw what happened to Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl the other year against the Buccaneers when his offensive line couldn't stop the pressure. He was under too much pressure. He was under too much heat, and he wasn't able to make it happen. That's what I think is going to be really interesting to see is can they do that to Patrick Mahomes, to Russell Wilson, to Derek Carr? They do those things, and all of a sudden we're looking at a very, very different AFC West there, where Justin Herbert is still looking like one of the most young, prolific arms in the league.
No doubt. No doubt. That's why the AFC West is going to be such a dog this year. I'm already looking forward to it. It's only March. I mean, the games don't get played till September, but man, I'm already looking forward to it. Just imagining how much of a challenge it's going to be each and every game, each and every division game. And I'm sure the NFL is going to schedule it like they did similar to the 2021 season, where they have games early and then they have games late that are going to really determine the division. Could you imagine? Like, I think back when the announcement of Khalil Mack to the Chargers, happened when Adam Schefter broke it, I immediately thought back of how would a Khalil Mack have changed that Week 18 game between the Raiders and the Chargers at Allegiant Stadium? You think that the Chargers wouldn't have liked to have an extra pass rusher in that game? You know what I mean? That game went to overtime, right?
Yep.
I mean, you tell me that they wouldn't have liked to have an extra pass rusher to try to get after Derek Carr in that game? How would that have impacted the game? That's how I look at those kind of things. So that's why I'm excited about the season. It should be interesting. Of course, like I mentioned before, I hate that it's Khalil Mack just because as far as I see him, I see old 5 Deuce in the Raider jersey, but it's the NFL and it's a business, and he's now been a Bear and now he's a Charger. So that's how it goes in the NFL. But yeah, it should be exciting. So those are some good impactful players that made some good moves this past week. And like we said before, it's not even free agency yet.
It's not even free agency yet, but free agency's underway. Q and I are going to talk to you about who we think will be the most impactful additions that you can make in free agency coming up in just a second here. But first, we got to talk to you guys about Built Bar. It's the time of the year where everyone's starting to give up on all their New Year's resolutions, but not you. You're going to keep to your resolution. And why? Because you've got Built Bar on your side. Built Bar is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. So you feel like you're cheating on your resolution, but you're not. You're actually eating something really healthy for you. Even if you try their new Puffs flavors. Their new Puffs flavors is the first ever protein-infused marshmallow. They're fluffy, marshmallowy, and they're not just a protein bar, they're a treat. They're still covered in 100% real chocolate like all Built Bars are, and they come in so many incredible flavors like yummy cinnamon churro. They have coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie. They're all so good, and they're going to be your new favorites. But even if they're not, if you just want a regular old Built Bar, those are still covered in 100% real chocolate, and they're low in calories but high in protein. The average Built Bar has 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein, compared to the average candy bar that has 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. There's so many flavors for you to choose from, too, when you go to Built.com to get your favorite flavor of Built Bar, whether it's coconut almond, double chocolate, peanut butter brownie, raspberry, cookies and cream, salted caramel, mint brownie, all those flavors available when you visit Built.com. When you visit Built.com to order your next order of Built Bars to be delivered right to your door, be sure to use the promo code LOCKED15. That's LOCKED 15, LOCKED15, and you'll get 15% off your next order at Built.com. wrapping up the Locked On NFL podcast. I'm Chris Carter with your boy Q on the Friday edition here. Q, free
Yo,
agency's around the corner, man. Tampering season begins at 4 p.m. Monday afternoon Eastern time. So I got to ask you, you look at this is a big free agent class, and a lot of guys wanted to be in this free agent class because this was the first mega boom of free agency in the NFL after the pandemic and the money settled out and the salary cap was gonna come up a bit. Teams are gonna be frivolous a little bit. There's gonna be teams that are gonna be spending wildly and grabbing all the big guys. So it may not be just the most expensive player, but who's gonna be the most impactful player in free agency that gets signed this year by your eyes?
you're letting me go first?
Yes.
Hell yes. I'm so excited because I thought you were going to go first and I thought you were going to take my guy. So I wrote down two. I had two guys that I thought were going to
Ooh.
be just in case. You can't take both, right? So I was like, all right, I have it covered because I just knew you were going to take the guy that I think is going to be the most impactful because look, all free agents are not good free agents. Some good free agents will get paid really well, like Corey Littleton did a couple years ago from the Raiders. And I'll tell you right now, he got released after 2 seasons. He made $23.6 million. He had 4 passes defense, 1 fumble recovery, a half sack, and 25 missed tackles. All that for $23.6 million. That's the money that he was paid already. That's not what his contract was. His contract was stupid. So I mean, it was just like they gave him a boatload of money and he didn't earn it. So that's what free agency is. I always say buyer beware. There's a reason why these guys are free agents a lot of times. But there are some guys in free agency that I think are going to be impactful. I got 2, but I'm only going to give you one since I'm going first. I got to go with J.C. Jackson. You know I roll with DBs. You know I say DBs win games. J.C. Jackson, Mr. INT, he is a dude who makes plays. He is a difference maker. This guy has had 25 interceptions the last 3 seasons combined. The team that I cover, the Las Vegas Raiders, they've had 25 interceptions the last 3 seasons combined. As a team,
Dang.
Craig, as a
As a
team.
team. Did you just call me
He's
Craig?
had it. Yeah, Craig. You know, Craig as in
From
Friday.
Friday. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. You know, top flight security of the world, Craig. You know what I'm saying?
It's cute.
Trying to
We're
talk
both black. We get it. Let's go.
all right, well, you questioned it. You
I'm just
questioned
like,
it.
so you really gonna call me Craig? Like I get you. I
Yeah, I
get you.
called you Craig. And so you messed me all up. I had a good rhythm going and you messed it all up. But point is, JC Jackson makes plays. JC Jackson not only can knock down the ball, not only is he going to have a pass defense, he expects to intercept the ball. And if teams don't want to throw at him, great. He just shut down a whole side of the field and he's telling the other dude, all right, you step your game up. And they're going to have more chances to make plays. So he's my free agent number 1. He's a guy I'd love to see the Raiders make a play for. It's funny, you talked about the Chargers a lot when you were talking about the Khalil Mack move. They're a team that's actually been rumored to be hot and heavy after J.C. Jackson. Can you imagine
Oof.
them making a trade like that for Khalil
Oof.
Mack, improving the pass rush, and then having a dog in the secondary like J.C. Jackson? Bruh,
I
that
want
would
no
be a
problems.
murder. That would be murder. But
I want no problems.
I'm really hoping that the money that they have to spend on Khalil Mack kind of changes their mind on spending the money for J.C. Jackson, but they still got plenty of free agency money, man. They got it. And
Listen,
as you
man.
mentioned, man, there's teams that they bolstered their free agency money. They can get it done, and that's the team that I'll be looking out for J.C. Jackson. But wherever he goes, he's going to make an impact, in my opinion.
I agree. For me, I cover the Steelers. The Steelers need to go get J.C. Jackson this year. They need a top cornerback. Right now, as it's scheduled, Joe Hayden and Akella Witherspoon are both supposed to hit free agency this year. That means they only have one starting cornerback from last year coming back. They need a star cornerback to stand up to Jamar Chase to help them win some of those battles. J.C. Jackson is 26 years old. That's the other impact of this. There's a lot of these free agents that are older and that they're like, they're on the back end of their career, and this is the last big contract that they'll have. J.C. Jackson's a guy, you could sign a 4-year deal, he'll be 30 at the end of it. And then you could sign him to another 2 to 3 year deal and be like, okay, if he's maintained that superstar level of play, you'll want him around for those extra years. So there's that as well. But I gotta say, man, when I'm looking at these guys, J.C. Jackson would be he's my top pick for the Steelers as far as a free agent goes. But all of this changed when Bobby Wagner became a free agent.
Ooh, good
That's
one.
my pick here because because Bobby Wagner's old. He's going to be 32 this season, and he got maybe 2 more years of this. Now, here's the crazy part: Bobby Wagner just had the most tackles in his career with 170 with the Seattle Seahawks this year. So he's not slowing down, and he's had 5 pass breakups 5 passes defensed in each of the last 6 seasons that he's been
Right.
in the NFL. Like he's still he's not slowing down. It doesn't look like, but
Oh,
eventually, Father Time always wins, right? So that's going to happen. But the reason I say Bobby Wagner is because whoever does add him most likely is a Super Bowl contender. And
ooh,
they're saying I'm taking a shot right now with a guy that only got a couple years because Bobby Wagner, he's a free agent. He can sign with whoever he wants.
right,
It's not
right
just about the
now,
money.
right now,
Right now, like he doesn't have to wait for Monday. He could
right,
sign this before we finish recording this
right,
segment.
right.
But imagine Bobby Wagner going to the Chiefs, imagine him with the Chargers, and that mix there. Like you just put him on a lot of these different teams that were just really close or need a couple more pieces, and say, hey, you know what? I just want to win another ring, man. I already got one with the Seahawks. I want to get another one. I want to get back there. I can see him being a true game changer because he's not just a tackler. He's not just the guy that breaks
Right.
up passes. He's a captain. He's a
Yeah.
leader. He settles the middle of your field. And one of the philosophies that I've always lived by is that the middle of the field is the most important part when you're building a defense. You want to have a really good interior defensive lineman that's going to set the
Right.
tone there. You want to have a really good inside linebacker / middle linebacker, depending on what system you run. And you really want to have a good safety that could cover the middle part of the field. In Pittsburgh, that's what when the Steelers win Super Bowls, that's what they've got. They had Troy
Right.
Polamalu, James Ferrier, and Casey Hampton in the 2000s. They had Donnie Shell, Jack Lambert, and Mean Joe Green in the 70s. Those are the things that they needed. And you look throughout there's a lot of teams that resonate that kind of formula. Bobby Wagner can be that guy for so many teams. And that's why I think that he's my guy who's the top of the free agency impact guys.
Oh, Bobby Wagner's a dog, man. Yeah, I'm interested to see where he lands. I have a gut feeling it's going to be Dallas. I'm just going to tell you that straight up. I think that's where
Ooh,
he's going to go.
that would be nasty with him
I
and
think there's a
Micah.
lot of teams that want him. I know there's a lot of teams that
Ooh.
want him, as a matter of fact. But I think Dallas is going to be the place he ultimately lands. He'll be back reunited with Dan Quinn, and I think he's going to do some really good things there. I think that they want him desperately. I think that they believe they have a good formula of offense, and as long as they can sure and solidify that defense, and I think he would be that missing piece. That would be for me. That's the landing spot that I think that you'll see Wagner go. But I do think he's going to be a big time impact wherever he lands. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting one, man. I like that. It's a good pick.
It's a very interesting. I mean, but J.C. Jackson, big part here. But it's not just J.C. Jackson. There's a lot of cornerbacks. Stephon Gilmore is in this group. Carlton Davis, who made a really
Yeah,
good name for himself. There's some guys that could be some true game changers. Chandler Jones is a free agent right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
There's
Yep.
so many players that can make it. Teron Armstead, Brandon Scherf, Ryan Jenkins. The the NFL, there's gonna be some people that get paid this year.
I'll
There's
tell you
some
one guy who's probably going to get paid, and I know we said we're only going to do one each, but I mean, who cares? Anyway, I'll tell you, I think that you got to watch out for Hassan Reddick. He's had 2
yes,
really good years back to
yes.
back, one in Arizona, one in Carolina. I thought the Fighting Matt rules were going to keep him locked in. I thought
The
he was going to
fighting
stay in
Matt rules.
Carolina. I don't know what's going on with my boy Matt Rule. Call me, dog. You know the number. Holler
You
at me,
know,
man. We got to talk, man. I got to figure out what's going on with you. I've backed you for far too long. You got to talk to your boy, man. Holler at me. You know the number. But yeah, man, Hassan Reddick's going to be interesting. I think he's going to try to get some big time money. He's had 2 back-to-back seasons of double-digit sacks. He's not a guy that has to even play every down, but he gets after the quarterback and he makes things happen. And as we know, the quarterback and the guy that can get to the quarterback are needed in the league in a major way. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Hassan Reddick go somewhere and be a big, impactful player. And as long as they use him correctly, he's going to get you double-digit sacks.
hey, maybe he also goes to the AFC West and they keep loading
Hey
up
man,
on
why you gonna put that? Don't put that on me,
that. Could
man.
be the
Hey, Ricky
Raiders that
Bobby.
get him. It
Hey,
could be the
Ricky Bobby.
Raiders.
Don't you
Hold
dare
on.
put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky
There
Bobby.
you go.
But
That's what I meant.
it could be the Raiders that get him because they're like, we need to get after Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert and Russell Wilson. That's what I'm saying, man. You gotta have more faith in your guys, Q. Come on, man. Like, I'm over here. Mason Rudolph is the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. Yet here I am standing confidently talking about that team and what they're about to build. Do you see that? Can you imagine if you had Mason Rudolph as your quarterback right now, what you would be thinking about your future? It wouldn't be pretty. But here I am, sounding like I'm a confident Steelers host, like they're actually going to do stuff next year with Mason Rudolph on the center. So you got to be like me, Q.
You're just a glorified cheerleader. That's all.
Well,
that's
okay, you need to calm that down because I also call out like this is going to be a long season with Mason Rudolph at quarterback. I've said that several times.
You're just trying to get your best cheerlead on. You're like that team that's got the cheerleaders out there that got to cheer even though their team's down 35-0.
First of all, the Steelers don't have cheerleaders. They said that takes away from the game. So that shows what little you know, Q. How about that? You got your little Raider region over there.
I said you're like that team that has the cheerleaders that have to put in work.
I cover the team that doesn't have cheerleaders.
Well,
so how about that?
The Raiders have the fabulous females, so they have them. So be it.
Is that it? That's it.
That's all I got. That's all I need.
I thought there was a follow-up. I'm sitting here all right, here comes the punchline that Q's always comes with.
No.
And you're light-skinned.
Hey, look, man, it's not my fault that there's too many scallywags in Pittsburgh. They
Scallywags.
Cheerleaders. Just kidding. I love Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I know. The next time you better come here too when the Raiders come back this year.
I will. I'll come to Pittsburgh. I love Pittsburgh. It's a great city.
We get and drink. Hey, we do love you. We got pretty lit the last time you got here, so we're gonna do that again when you come back.
Be love, man. I appreciate Pittsburgh.
Yes, sir.
Nice stadium too. It's a nice stadium.
Yes, indeed. All right, Q. We've had enough fun talking about all that crazy stuff. Thank you so much for checking us out on the Locked On NFL podcast. He's your boy Q. I'm Chris Carter. This has been the Friday edition. He hosts Locked On Raiders. I host Locked On Steelers. But you can get the Locked On NFL podcast anywhere, just like you can get our shows, but especially on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Odyssey, and YouTube. Hit the like button on this video if you liked this video and our crazy banter as Q continues to be confused about what's a region and what's a nation.
You can't even spell region without stuttering, so you don't know no better.
First of all, I didn't try to spell region.
You're making up
I didn't even try to spell region. Can you spell region? Go ahead, spell region.
I can. REGION.
Okay, congratulations. Q graduated from 5th grade.
I'm a great speller.
Yeah.
That's right. I was in the spelling bee. I was.
Weren't all kids in the spelling bee? Like you had to be in the spelling bee?
No, all kids were not in the spelling bee.
In my school, like if you wasn't in the spelling bee,
you
like
went
you
to
was
school
like
with 3 kids in it. So, or maybe you went to the smart kids school. I didn't go to a school where every kid was in the spelling bee. We had to be smart to be in the spelling bee. Maybe that's why you ended up being the top of your class because they just let anybody into the party.
Wait. That just means I had more competition. You only went up against 2 other people. They could have been the dumbest people in the class.
No, I didn't. I just said that you went up against people. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? I'm trying to close out the show. I'm giving outros and stuff. And you're attacking me.
Of course, they did not let everybody into the spelling bee. That would be silly. They only let us smart dudes.
Oh, that's what you call yourself nowadays.
Hey, dog, I'm a smart cat, man.
All right. We do got to get out of here. Thanks so much for checking us out. You can check us out at all the times. Hey, if you see this podcast on Apple Podcasts, rate us 5 stars with a positive comment. That stuff helps out the network. Bo Brack will be breaking things down on Monday, getting you ready for all the craziness that's about to happen. 4 p.m., the tampering period, and it's going to be a wild time as free agency opens. Chris Carter and your boy Q on the Friday edition of Locked On NFL. Thanks for checking us out. We'll be back with you next week.
Peace.